Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're solving a problem, and the problem is this Thunderegg right here, which I believe is from Richardson's Rock Ranch down in Central Oregon. Well, it's a double, and it's kind of an odd, weird shape. I could very easily clamp it in my saw in this orientation and get a cut, but then I wouldn't have book-matched sides. The two sides of the eggs are going to be very different. If I cut it in this orientation, I will be running through some of the pressure ridges, which if you go back and watch the how to correctly cut a Thunderegg video, we talk all about pressure ridges there. Go check that out. I'll drop a link places. But I can't. I don't have a fixture, right? So if I can't clamp it here. It'll like pop out with the clamp that's in my saw. I don't have any fixtures. My big clamp for holding Thundereggs, it will smush these two sides together because the gap for the blade is too wide, and it doesn't work. It's not going to work. I don't have the means to cut it. However, I want to try something. If we go back to when we went to the Rock Rollers tailgate sales event, there was one of these. It is cement casted in a sonotube, and inside there's carnelian agates. And we did some slicing of that. And one of the reasons you could do that is, well, in doing so, you have the ability to cut stuff in abundance or whatever that would otherwise be hard in like an oil saw. Like you're not going to clamp this little thing in an oil saw, cast it in something. When I showed that, a lot of people talked about plaster, casting one in plaster of Paris. So that's what we're going to be doing today. It's also a thing that I know was more popular in the 70s from reading Rock and Gem magazine from the 70s. That's what we're doing with the podcast. You can go check that out as well, the previously Rockhounding podcast. So the plan is we're going to cast this thing. I've already kind of created a mold here out of a cardboard box that I've lined with saran wrap so that when we mix up, when we pour in our mixture, it will not mess up the box as it dries. And we're just going to follow the instructions, and it should be pretty good. And hopefully we can get this thing cut, and it's awesome. And then we can break the plaster off. That's the plan. And just so happens, I recently cleaned my slab saw, so we'll be able to see how much of the plaster, if any, dissolves in the oil, and we can see what type of mess we make. I already have my water and my plaster measured out per the instructions on the bag. We will orientate this guy in here. I think we'll put this in here just like this. So the idea being we can fill this, and now I'll have a block, and I can clamp the block in the saw, and we'll get a nice perfect cut on this. I think it matters probably a heck of a lot more if you're actually casting something of value to make sure you get this thing fully mixed up and no air bubbles and all of that. All right. I hope I don't need to cast more. Let's see. Oh, it's a little chunky, isn't it? Yeah, I need to basically double that. Now I have that nice big flat piece right there that I'll be able to clamp onto. So we'll come back and we'll check this in 30 minutes, I believe, and remove it from the mold. So it's been a little bit now, and it's not really setting up the way I thought it was going to set off. But that's okay. We're just going to let it sit here. We have an infinite amount of time to let it fully dry. The package says 24 hours. You say you can handle it after 30 minutes. I don't know if that's going to be the case with this being such a big block of plaster. So I'm just going to let it sit out here for the afternoon, and then we'll try to get it out. We'll cut it out if we have to. So you can see here, we are definitely popping off. It's about, 72 out here in the shop. So it's really starting to warm up. You kind of feel the heat. You know, a little warm right there. I think I'll cut this out now. Hey, there we go. See what the temperature is. Yeah, 106. That'll work just nice, I think. That'll work really well. Let's get this out of the saran wrap. Yeah, that's definitely very wet. Obviously it's very wet. All right, well, I think we're pretty good here, and I'm going to mark one with my Sharpie, my cut, which I already know here. This thing here took absolutely forever to dry. I don't know if I mixed it up wrong. Maybe I screwed up. But after about 3 days, it was still like clammy and kind of a dark gray. To the touch was clammy. And I started putting it in my toaster oven, barely fit in there, toaster oven, and kept it like 150 degrees, and you would look at it and just be like condensation on the inside of the glass door, just as all the water baked out of this. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it was super dry, since the only thing holding the rock is going to be the plaster, and who knows, maybe it comes loose in the saw and destroys the blade. We'll find out. Let's get this thing chucked up. Here we go. It's all clamped in there. You can see that we will clear. We'll clear. And the saw, you can see the oil in there is mostly clean. So we'll be able to see how much plaster just kind of makes its way into the basin. And hope for the best. I do have the Highland Park Greenline Agate Eater blade in here, so that if this comes loose, like if this whole thing shears off in the vise and just wrecks it, it's not a big deal. Well, let's see how we did. Oh wait, that's not a Richardson's egg at all. That is an egg from the Dugway beds. Look at that. Man, that thing had me fooled. Looking at the outside of that, I was like, well, that kind of looks like a Richardson's egg. Well, I guess I got to get the plaster off of this. And you can see that really didn't foul up the saw at all with plaster bits. Got these down in some cat litter. I guess I'll just start trying to knock some of the plaster off with a hammer. That's going to be some work. So a lot of this has been very difficult to get off. So I'm going to try going to try the textile gun, and I'll drop a link down below to this. It's for cleaning textiles, like your clothes, like spot cleaning, and it's just like a super high pressure mini jet of water. Well, that's going to be time consuming. I mean, it does work, but So before we look at the Thunderegg all cleaned up and stuff, let's talk about this. This is a piece of the plaster that was right next to the Thunderegg that I broke off, and you can kind of see we are discolored here, and that's because it soaked up a bunch of the oil, which is a major downside to the process, at least using plaster of Paris. The oil that we use in slab saws ranges between $90 and $110, at least at the time of filming, for a 5-gallon bucket. So to literally be throwing some of that away kind of sucks. It's a downside to the process for sure. It also took a long time for my casting to cure, that's another downside. The actual cutting process seemed to have gone really well. The saw went very, very nice. The cleaning of the exterior of this, you can kind of see there's still some little bits here. The textile gun worked great, but man, it was a lot. The whole process, a lot of work. And here is the end results of the Thunderegg. And when I say a Thunderegg, I mean a Thunderegg and not a geode. If you haven't watched any of the other content about Thundereggs here on the channel, this has a rhyolite exterior. It is a Thunderegg, regardless of the fact that people call it a geode or refer to it as the Dugway geode beds, the Dugway Thunderegg beds. So, downside to this egg, before I do any type of polishing or anything, I'm going to have to remedy that. I'm going to have to float something in there to seal that up and hold it all together, like some very watery CA glue before doing any kind of polish on it. But it does, however, at least look really good wet, which that's a positive. So it gives me a little bit of a clue as to what this will look like. And yeah, you know, sometimes you just gotta try stuff for yourself and see how it goes. I don't know. I guess the jury's out for me if I would do this again. Something would have to be really, really special for me to want to spend all the money and the time and all the things and stuff to do what we just did. Well, thanks for coming by, hanging out with me in the shop, cutting this Thunderegg here, and I have a whole bunch of playlists here on the channel. Go check those out. Check out the website, currently rockhounding.com. Check out me on Instagram. We have a podcast. We do all kinds of great stuff, all kinds of good stuff. All right, everybody. Y'all take care, and I'll catch you in the next video.